step in this way into the cover photo. Step right in this way, folks. Yeah, right in the cover.
Zipping around over here. My grandson is also supposed to be here. There he is.
Everybody come in together, okay? Just right in closer.
These bricks are slippery.
We're going to start here shortly, folks. If you can step in.
Isn't that amazing?
A few more spots here. Somebody needs to sit down. Okay.
More room on the other side of the mirror.
Step in, yeah. Move around. And if you guys step through this way a little bit and do it bring in the photo, honors approaching.
Case.
Good morning and welcome to Willamette National Cemetery. We are here to honor Everett Brady Hancock. On behalf of the director and the cemetery staff, we extend our most sincere condolences. We will now proceed with the military honors, which will include a rifle volley salute, the playing of taps, and the folding and presenting of our nation's flag. If you are sensitive to loud noises, now is the time to shield your ears.
on behalf of the President of the United States, the United States Navy, and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
Mayor, on behalf of the American Legion, Milwaukee Post 180, our sincere condolences on the loss of your loved one. It was an honor to participate in this ceremony, recognizing Captain Hancock for his faithful and honorable service to his country. This pouch contains 3 spin rounds from the rifles I fired in honor of Captain Hancock. These cartridges represent naval virtues, duty, honor, and country. With dignity, honor, and God's grace, Captain Hancock was laid to rest. Today, you and your family meet to say goodbye. In your heart, Captain Hancock will never die. May God bless you and your family during this time of grief and sorrow.
Good news, the chariot's coming. Good news, the chariot's coming. Good news, the chariot's coming. And I don't want to be left behind. Will Captain Everett Brady Hancock be left behind? We don't know. But maybe by the end of our comments, we will have a better idea. When E. Brady spoke, one of his dental students said that he spoke with the voice of God. Now this reminds me of Moses when he's on Mount Sinai and a bush started flaming up, but it was not consumed. And lo and behold, the voice of God spoke out of the burning bush. And God said to Moses, I want you to let my people go. I want you to get my people out of the bondage of slavery in the land of Egypt and bring them to the promised land. Well, when Everett Brady spoke to dental students in the periodontal program, they better know it was the voice of God, because they better never turn in an assignment late. About 58 years ago, I'm guessing, Cindy and I had the privilege of attending the wedding of Carol Ray and Brady. Now, Carol Ray tells me that she and Brady were students at the University of Illinois at the same time. He was in dental school, and she was in the School of Nursing. Well, one day, she goes to the Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company to buy something for her meal. And here comes a group of criminals with guns in their hands, and they're going to rob the grocery store. They told every customer to lie down on the floor. And then, to make sure that everybody understood that they were serious, they took their guns and shot into the ceiling and the walls of the grocery store. Well, that night, Carol Ray got a hold of Brady. Said to Brady, I am suffering. I don't know what to do. And he said, I'll be right over. He came right over and stayed with her until she was consoled. And thank God, Brady was there to be a comfort. Later on, they were married. 5 years ago, Cindy and I, and we may be the only two people that are living that went to Boakley. We asked Mary, what would remember about Brace? Well, Mary says that I fell in love with the twinkle in his eye and the mischievous smile that told me that there was an adventure ahead. One Christmas day in Salem, Illinois, when the kids were about 10 years old, and their grandfather, who was in charge of everything except making the meals, and also a dentist, Papa said to Heidi, Heidi, what do you want for Christmas? Well, you know, Papa, I'm allergic. I can't have a dog. I can't have a cat. But I couldn't have a horse. Well, why don't you get a horse? Well, Mom and Dad says it's too expensive for me to have a horse. Well, don't worry about that. I'll write you a check to Mom and Dad, and they can buy you a horse. So Ethel writes out the check for the horse. And of course, you know, buying a horse is only 1/100th of what it costs to have a horse. And with a twinkle in his eye and a mischievous smile on his, but wonder where Brady got they got a horse. Okay, so Heidi has to learn how to ride a horse. She has to learn how to put a halter on a horse. She needs to learn how to get the horse into the trailer so that you can take the horse to a riding area and you can get lessons on how to ride a horse. So Heidi, with her horse, which she named Uppy, of course, they were trying to put the halter on the horse. But this is one day when Puppy says, I'm not going. So she'd start to put the halter on and the horse would run off. And finally they got the horse in the stall, and Heidi was making great success of getting the halter on. And the horse decided to bolt. Well, Daddy Brady can stop a horse, of course. He grabs it by the neck to stop it, and Puppy ran off with Brady, hanging onto his neck as long as he could before he fell off. So, you know, Everett Brady Hancock and Carol Red would do anything to help her girls have a great time in this world. Now, I asked Jana, I said, you know, what do you remember about your dad that you could share with people? Of course, her dad said, you know, if you want to be a pilot, you might well go to the best pilot school in the country. You ought to go to Embry-Riddle. And she did and got a degree, and she got a husband. So that was a double benefit. But she also pointed out that Jana, her husband Mark, her daughter Finn, were at Carol Ray and Brady's dinner table, and they were having watermelon for dessert. Well, lo and behold, the phone rings, and Carol Ray gets up to go to the other room to answer the hall phone. And while she was doing that, Brady takes out his knife, slices out the heart of the watermelon, and then eats it before Carol Ray comes back. And it was at that time that Jana saw the cell phone in her dad's lap, and he had that mischievous smile. Heidi found a sermon that Brady gave. Now, I never knew that he gave a sermon, but in 1980, he gave a sermon, and the title of it, Who Cares? And he said, we should learn to care for one another as God has cared for us. When our son Andrew was in grade school at Zion, he wanted to get in the band, and he wanted to play the trombone. Well, Cindy knew that Brady played the trombone in high school, and that she might get him to loan the trombone to Andrew. So she called Brady and said, "Would you loan the trombone to Andrew?" And Brady said, "Well, of course I'll loan it to Andrew. It's time to be careful with it." So he has the trombone. He's in the band. He's going to have a lesson this morning, and he forgot a book. So he sets the trombone case down near the back of the band and goes in, gets the book, hurries back to the car because they're late. And Cindy backs out and feels a crunch of the back tire. She ran over the trombone that Andrew left behind the car. So she called Brady and said, "Brady, I hate to tell you this, but I ran over your trombone." He said, "Well, just get it fixed and everything will be okay." And she took it to a trombone repair person, and he said, "Well, can't fix this one." And Brady did not want a flower vase that looked like a trombone. So we give thanks that Brady loaned Andrew a trombone, and he got to be in the band at the Zion Lutheran School. In April of 1970, Brady was assigned to the Iwo Jima. This was in the South Pacific near Samoa. And I think it was April the 17th, the Apollo 13 mission got into trouble. The oxygen tank in the mothership exploded. And now their only chance of survival was to get in the lunar module that they were going to use and re-enter the atmosphere of the United States and splash down somewhere in the ocean. When they splashed down, what ship was the closest to their splashdown? It was the Iwo Jima. And when those 3 astronauts were placed on the ship, one of the examining officers for the medical team was Everett Brady Hancock. While on Iwo Jima, Brady was talking to an engineering officer on the ship, and he said, "Brady," or Captain Hancock, excuse me. He did not been the captain then. Officer Hancock, I'm going to be discharged as soon as this tour is done. He said, "Well, son, let me tell you, if you want to have your wisdom teeth taken out while the Navy will pay for it, we better do it now." The next day, Brady took out his wisdom teeth and sat up with him all night to make sure everything went well with him. And he was a very grateful person to the Officer Hancock. The 3 men that were brought to the ship were James Lovell, Fred Hayes, and John Swigert. After retiring from the U.S. Navy, Heidi reports that Dr. Hancock was a generous supporter of the theater, symphony, and the Indiana University School of Dentistry, where he was made chairperson of the periodontal program for advanced dental students. Dr. Brady continues his sermon. John Donne says, "Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and there is, therefore, never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for thee." Our care of others lessens the pain and intensifies the joy of life, just as we care for each other. God cares for us. And as we do good for the least of these our fellows, we also do good for our neighbor and for God. Good news, the chariot's coming, and I don't want to be left behind. Good news, the chariot's coming, and I don't want to be left behind. Captain Everett Brady Hancock was not left behind.
Thank you, Roger. On behalf of the Department of Veterans Affairs and a grateful nation, present this President Dr. Warren's certificate in honor for his service to his country. Is some in the Octi. Well, the details it was boxed. Should you have the relations to stay to be judges?
Thank you all for coming and honoring Brady with your presence today
And sharing of memories.
If you wish, now is the time for you to say your final farewells as you make your way to your vehicles. Thank you, and drive safely.
hiding in the worm one mountain.
Maybe we see you for you see.
Yeah, as keep all the way back, raise a bar. And therefore, he marries the dog. Get through up, please get there. We told your daughter and for their warrior speed I in December. He's a